Sakes alive.
Gracious sakes alive. Okay, tell us about the tent. You lived in a tent on Redwood Road, and what was the story about the bus?
Well, when I was 6 years old, we moved from Wendover to Salt Lake City without having a house to move into. So my dad rode down the street, and it was on Redwood Road. And there's hardly anything on Redwood Road, just a house here and there. And he come to this big house, and it had a great big field right next door to it. So he thought maybe the man would be willing to rent that field to us. So he stopped the truck and got up and went in the house, and he talked to the man, and I also talked to him about paying for the water. He had water on the side of the house, if we could use a hose. And the man said yes, he would let us do this. So that was our first move to Salt Lake City. And we lived on Redwood Road, and we put up our tent. And it was not a great big tent. It was just a small, regular old tent. And it had a little stove in it. And the pipe went up through. My mother actually cooked in that little tent. And so we lived there, and they went down, way down by the Jordan River, and they dug an outhouse. Do you know what an outhouse is?
Where you poop?
Yep, an outdoor toilet. And you pee too. Anyway, they dug that all out, and they put a surrounding around it so that it was private. Had a canvas, and we could go in there, and that was our bathroom. So we were living there when school started. I had never been to school because where we lived in Wendover, they didn't have kindergarten. So I started right out in kindergarten here in Salt Lake, and they would send a bus for us. And we got on the bus, and when it came time for me to get off the bus, I didn't know where I was supposed to get off, so I just stayed on the bus until it went the entire way, all the way around, and took the bus back to the bus depot. And there I was all alone sitting on the bus. So they just didn't know what to do with me, and so they asked me where I lived. And I did know that I lived on Redwood Road. So he was going down to Redwood Road, and I just hollered at him and I said, "There it is, right there. We live in a tent. We live in a tent." Well, when my sisters found out about this, they almost come unglued. They were so embarrassed. Because I had told well, not everyone, because I was the only one there, but the bus driver, that we lived in a tent on Redwood Road and used somebody else's water. And we had an outhouse. And at that time, in Salt Lake City, people did not use outhouses. But my dad didn't have a job yet, but he did immediately, a couple of days later, got one out to the airport. So we lived in that tent for probably, I'd say, we probably lived there for over a month. And then my dad got his first paycheck, and he went out looking for us a